In this video, I'm going to show you how to work Kitchener stitch with a yarn in front. Very often, a lot of tutorials and information you can find about Kitchener stitch are the ones where you're knitting in the round, and when you knit in the round, your yarn will be on the back needle. If you knit back and forth for hoods or anything else, you might not want to need additional row to have your yarn in the back for different proportions, especially for bulky yarn. So you would want to do your Kitchener stitch with the yarn in front. And it's actually very easy. The movements are more or less the same. You always need to work your stitch first, so you need to thread it with the threading needle and the yarn, and then you need to take that stitch off after threading it. So let's do it. First of all, we make sure that we have the equal amount of stitches on both needles. We have our yarn cut and thread into the knitting needle, and we are ready to start. The basics that you need to remember about Kitchener stitch is that you always thread your stitch as opposite. So the purl stitch here, you will always thread as if to knit like this, and the knit stitch on the front needle, you will always thread as if to purl. So first we need to set up this and then we will start taking stitches off the needle. So with our yarn in front, first we need to set up our back stitch, first back stitch, which is a purl stitch in this case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread it as if to knit. So just passing the knitting needle like this and thread in it all the way forward. I have a lot of yarn here because I'm always running out of yarn, so I just wanted to make sure and cut quite a lot. So that was the first movement. Now we do the same with this first stitch. It is a knitting stitch, so we're going to thread it as if to purl like this. Now we're ready to start taking stitches off. So we're going through this first needle that we have already threaded, and we're going to take it off. So the way we take it off is always in the same direction as the stitch. So if it's a purl stitch, we're always going to take it off as if to purl, like this. It's a tricky yarn to do a tutorial with, so I hope you can still see something. Once you take the stitch off, always thread the next one right away. Remember, when we thread, we do it in the opposite direction of the stitch. So the purl stitch, we will knit. We'll thread as if to knit. Perfect. Now we can take off the first stitch here. Again, as we take off, we take it off the same way as the stitch. We take it off the needle as if to knit. And we thread it as if to purl. The same. Take off as if to purl, because we have already threaded it. Thread as if to knit. Oh. Perfect. Now we're taking off the stitch from our right needle, the one with knit stitches, so we take the stitches off as if to knit. And we thread it as if to purl. Take off the stitch on your back needle as if to purl, because there are purls here. And then thread it as if to knit. Once you remember this sequence of movements, it gets very easy and you don't really need to concentrate and think about it too much, which is very important. So always we thread opposite, we thread the stitch in the opposite way, we take off the stitch in the same way. I hope that's the way it's easier to remember. So we took off the stitch knitwise, we are threading it purlwise. Taking the stitch on the back needle off purlwise, threading it knitwise. Taking the stitch on the front needle off knitwise, threading it purlwise.